Hi guys, so today is 19th of April. There are two things which we want to talk about today. One is why buying low is important, and the second one is that we'll go through long list of 42 or 45 now, 45 stocks that are in momentum that you should definitely be looking at. And there are a lot of NBFCs, there are a lot of cement stocks, there is travel, hotels, uh, banks, insurance companies, and so on. We will look at all these stocks individually. These are all momentum stocks. And right now, if you look at the large, super large cap companies like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Shriram Finance, JK Cement, Ultratech Cement, those are doing very well. I think one very important thing which I want to first start with is this stock of Aarti Pharma. So what happens is that somebody gives you a tip on WhatsApp or you hear it on the TV and you jump and buy the stock. That is the problem. A good stock does not mean that you can buy it at any level. I'll show you how the institutional, or let's say the big mutual funds or big banks or the big players buy a stock. It's very important. So you would have heard many times that you should sell a stock at 200 EMA, you should not hold a stock at 200 EMA and all that. Now, I think that is true only if you don't know much about the stock. If you know about the company is doing well, you think it will be profitable and all of those things, then in fact you should buy at the 200 EMA. Now, first of all, what is 200 EMA? 200 EMA is just the average of last 200 days, and it means that the froth, there is no froth of traders, etc. If a stock is around 200 day moving average, the froth is out. Usually a stock goes maybe, let's say, 30% above 200 EMA, then there is a lot of froth in the stock. And if a stock hits 200 EMA, then more or less it has kind of settled down. So a lot of people say that you should actually sell the stock below 200 EMA, which is right if you don't know the stock. I mean, I'll tell you one company, Aarti Pharma. What happens is that there are a lot of big players who want to buy this stock. Let's start with that assumption, because fundamentally you really need to know if you want to buy a stock or not. You can apply this for ICICI Bank or Kotak Bank and so on. But just let's look at how the big banks are buying it and what they do with your psychology. The green line is the 200 EMA and the red line is the 50 DMA, and what you see in terms of prices is these small boxes. So it goes up, comes down and so on. Now, if you look at stock price since October, it has formed a very strong base between 550 and 600. There is some big buyer who comes up, shows up, buys the stock between 550 and 600. So only the patient people are making money in this. If you don't have patience, then you will lose the money. How? You will buy at, let's say, 695 because you got a tip. The stock went up from 577 to 595. Somebody gave you a tip. You just pressed the buy button, and then you will feel frustrated because after that it will go down to 600, it will go down to 550 and so on. So this is the issue with a lot of stocks actually, that people buy when there is a lot of news in the market. If you look at this stock, it has formed a very good base around 550 to 600 all throughout. Let's look at this. 579 goes to 650, comes back to 577, goes to 700, 600, goes to 555. A big buyer comes in, moves it up to 700, goes back to 634. Big buyer comes in, goes to 570. Big buyer comes in, and this time the big buyer is really strong. And this happened in February this year. So the big buyer took it from 570 to 768, and even it went up to 837. Then again a dump to 685. Then again it went up to 820. Then again dumped. Somebody is just then selling the stock, and then it brought it down to 574. So below 600, actually it is a pretty good buy. And if you would have just followed one rule, you would have said, okay, this company is good and I will only buy it below 200 EMA. Then you would have gotten 3 opportunities to buy. One was around this area, 555. Second was around this area, 570, 600. And the third one was after March, so in April. Only 3 opportunities you have gotten or received since December. So December, January, February, March, 4-5 months. In 4-5 months, you only get 3 opportunities to buy a stock cheap. If you really are impatient, then only God can save you. So this business is not for the impatient people. And I'll tell you one more thing, which is that the percentage changes for especially smaller stocks can be huge. So 600 to 800. So if you buy at 600 and sell at 800, that is 33% gain. Just imagine, if you have the confidence to buy this stock at low, you would make ton of money. Again, you need to have cash. The problem is that when we see such opportunities, we usually don't have cash because we never sell it high. We think when it goes to 830 or 820, we think it'll go to 900, it'll go to 1000, so on, which it has never done that. And you can simply use RSI or some other metric to figure out when it is expensive and it's not expensive. So that is one, that is about the Aarti Pharma. Now, I'll quickly take you through the stocks which are running. So first is Abbott India. Abbott India, I would not buy it at this level, but the stock is in momentum. Pharma is coming back. Then we have the Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance. Those two, you can buy it around these levels, although the PE ratio and the price to book ratio for Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv are on the higher side. So you have to be a little bit careful. Then you have Bajaj Finance. Again, I would not buy it above 8800. Right now it is 9170, and a lot of people think that the stock does not come down. Stock always comes down. If you look at Bajaj Finance, just look at this drop of 600, 8600 to 8000, 8700 to 8200, 9200 to 8300. So you have to wait. You have to wait for Bajaj Finance to drop maybe 600 rupees or 800 rupees. You can't just blindly buy stocks. You have to wait. Then you have Bharti Airtel. I think Bharti Airtel is one stock which I totally missed. If you look at R1, R2, which is the resistance 1, resistance 2 on this stock, it is hit resistance 2. If I have to buy this stock, I will not buy it above 1800. I know I have lost opportunity, but again, I'm not going to chase the stock. I'm not going to run after a stock. That is just not what makes sense. Then you have BSC, which is coming back. I'm not interested in such kind of stocks, although BSC has done extremely well. Then you have Chambal Fertilizers. So what is happening is that Modi lost a lot of votes in the rural India, and after that he has pushed the rural economy a lot. So he's giving a lot of money to the farmers. He's also giving a lot of money to non-farmers in the rural economy. And so some of these agri stocks like Coromandel or Chambal Fertilizer have been going up since Modi came to power. And just look at how this stock has moved since or even just look at 2025. It has moved up from 500 to 675, a huge run, and it just looks like it just didn't want to stop. Amazing story. Chambal Fertilizer. Then you have Cholamangalam Finance. Again, I missed it at 1400. See, the red line and the blue line, they are different. So the blue line is 50 DMA. If you are very desperate to buy a stock, always buy it at a 50 DMA, because that is what big funds, big mutual funds, big banks will do. They will wait for a 50 DMA. And I will also wait for a 50 DMA. The stock is around 1600 right now. I don't think it makes sense to invest in this one above 1436. It won't make sense. You have to wait for a 10% dip in this stock. It happens. If you look at here, 1400 to 1300, it goes down. It's not like it cannot go down 100 rupees. It has gone down 100 rupees a lot. So 1500 to 1400, 1580 to 1358. So even more than 100 rupees. So I would say wait for at least a 1500 if you really want to invest in this. Chola Holdings, it has been an extremely strong stock. If you look at it, in October it was around 2000, above 2000, and right now again it is coming back up. It went down to supports 2 of 1400, and then it's now coming back. So all these stocks, again, Coromandel, Great Buy, fertilizer stock. So there are total 45 stocks which we can study individually. I'll just show you as a candle glance. So Abbott India, we talked about Bajaj Finserv. Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance are two different stocks. Bajaj Finserv I will not buy above 1900. Bajaj Finance I will not buy above 8800. Bharti Airtel I will not buy above 1750. Amazing stock. Bharti Airtel has gone just crazy. And then you have BSC. I'm not going to touch it above 5000. Then we have Chambar Fertilizer. As I said, Modi lost a lot of rural votes and he has just been pumping money. 625 is where you can enter. Chola Finance 1500. It's again amazing stock. What is happening is that a lot of the local economy stocks are doing well because you never know what Trump is going to do, with pharma and defense and all that kind of things. So you really need to focus on the local stocks. So Chola Finance, Trump is putting tariffs or no tariffs. I don't think it's going to have an impact. In fact, he wants to lower the interest rates. So if he lowers the interest rates in the US, India will also have to lower the interest rates today or tomorrow or in a few months. And that will also give a little bit of a boost to all the NBFCs and banks. Now you have Chola Holding. This is an amazing stock. We'll talk about it in detail in one of the videos pretty soon. It has gone up from 1500 to 1800 in a very, very short span of time. Then we have Coromandel. Coromandel, as we talked about, again an agri stock. Modi lost a lot of votes. Now he wants a lot of votes back. So he's giving money to the farmers and all these kinds of things. Dixon is very interesting. I've never understood this movement of this stock, and I would avoid this stock because there's huge volatility. It sometimes will just drop 3,000 points, 4,000 points, and it's just not a stock which you want to invest in. Eicher Motor again is a really good stock because it is a local company. You have Royal Enfield. A lot of people want to buy, even if it's with their parents' money, they just want to buy a Royal Enfield. And Eicher Motor, I left it at the wrong time. I made some money, but I left it a little bit too early. Then you have General Insurance. I'm not interested in this one. Glaxo, again, pharma company, coming back very, very nicely. I'm not interested in pharma companies. Retail, not that interested in Godfrey Philip. You can try it. It's in momentum. But again, not my kind of stock. HDFC Bank, actually, I missed because I really wanted to buy it at 1750. It came at 1750. The problem was that I already had so much exposure in Kotak and other banks that I could not buy it. HDFC Bank has been just an amazing run. Now it has gone to 1900. I would say wait for maybe 1800 to invest. Then you have HDFC Life, again pretty good. Insurance companies. What is happening with the insurance companies is that government said 100% foreign investment is allowed. So a foreigner can come in and then just buy an insurance company. So a lot of the insurance companies, whether it's HDFC and your MFSL, they are going up. Then you have ICICI Bank, again the same story, local story, no impact of tariffs, going up, not looking interesting above 1325 for me. We have Indian Hotel. I think on this one as an alternative, because all the big private banks are extremely strong. I'm not saying that you should sell them, but you should look for a decent opportunity to enter. And at least for ICICI Bank, 1325 looks like a better opportunity to enter. You can't buy a stock very high and make money. You could look at State Bank of India, actually. Below 800, I think it's still a better entry. Indian Hotel, again, 750 was the price. I missed it. I knew it because I had a lot of other stuff. This is an amazing stock, but I think this is really overpriced, and this is going a little bit of too crazy with Indian Interglobe, Indigo. So what is being told about Indian Hotel and Indigo is that these two companies are doing exceptionally well when it comes to the travel. So a lot of people just, the Gen Z, and not just the Gen Z, but everybody else also, they just borrow money and spend it on travel, hotels, and so on. So God knows what's going to happen in 15 years, but right now they're spending money. A lot of cement stocks have been extremely good. So you see JK Cement here. I think it's a pretty strong stock, but you should wait for it to fall. JK Cement, Ultratech Cement, holding company, JSW Holding is also pretty interesting. We have to do a separate video on this because this is just a little bit of too crazy. Yeah. Yeah, whenever it touches the blue line, we should look at it. Not above 24,000 doesn't make sense. Then you have Jubilant Foods, not above 675, doesn't make sense now. Then you have Kim's, not above 600, doesn't make sense. It's too late to buy now. Kotak Bank, you could buy it, but better rate would be 2100. I would still say buy State Bank of India instead of Kotak Bank for short term. For long term, I would still say Kotak Bank is pretty well placed. You will not lose money. You will make some money. Lotus Labs, CDMO stories. So a lot of these pharma companies, not a lot, but few, are coming back because they can sell their stuff, and apparently US does not have an alternative to the Indian pharma. So a lot of these pharma companies are going up. Lotus Labs hanging in there around 620. Doesn't make sense to buy it above 580. I had it, I just sold it last week. And then you have Marico. It has been going up quite strongly, and I'm a little bit too scared now to enter. If you look at, you need to look at the speed of the growth. So the bars, this bar was bigger than this bar was bigger than this bar, and then finally it stopped going up. So if you just look at this area, every time it goes up, it's going up lesser in amount than the previous day. So it is not losing momentum, but the speed is not that great. Then you have Majgao Dock, again interesting stock. I'm not going to invest it above 2400. Medanta hospitals have been extremely good. NH and Medanta. I have Max Health also, and hospitals in general are not that expensive. So if you look at Medanta, I think 1200 is a pretty decent level to buy. So let us say let it drop by 5%. Insurance companies, as we talked about, so a lot of these foreign companies are going to invest in India in the insurance sector, because insurance sector, first of all, is not very well developed in India, and government just announced that 100% FDI is allowed. So the foreigners have an option to either build their own new company in India, or they just buy an existing one. So if they buy an existing one, let's say if they increase their stake in MFSL, then obviously its stock price goes up. Then you have the hospital again. So what is happening in hospitals is also a lot of, so 40% jobs in India in the formal sector are government employees. Now, what does that do? All these government employees, they'll go for knee replacement and all those kinds of hospital stuff. And that's why, and government is paying for really good hospitals. So you will see that these stocks are going up, and you got an opportunity on 7th of April when it really, if you look at this big red candle here, it went down and then it just kept going up. So again, this kind of thing can happen. Then you have Page Industries, not interested. Patanjali, again, a stock which you should definitely look at. But again, this is FMCG, so I'm not that curious about this. Paytm, I never invest in Paytm. Any company which is not making profit, God save me. PGEL, you can look at it. Power India is very interesting. Power India is very, very interesting. I think 12,000 was the price when I should have bought. I should have purchased it. But yeah, I have a limit on how much I can purchase. And look at this congestion here around 12,000. It was indicative that there was the fight between the buyers and the sellers in this area, and then it resolved in the favor of the buyers. Then you have Redico. SBI card has been extremely good. Wow, I didn't even realize. I wanted to buy it at 840. Now it's at 900. Amazing. Shriram Cement, again, the cement story is all local. You put in tariffs, or you Shri Cement, Ultratech Cement, JK Cement. You put in tariffs or you don't put in tariffs, it doesn't matter, because cement you cannot import or export. Only very little amount is exported or imported with Pakistan, but otherwise it's not a stuff which you will send to the US. Shriram Finance, extremely strong stock. It went down, came up, but I think 650 is the level where we can buy it. Then you have Sham Metals, again pretty strong. SRF, I have good amount of SRF. So SRF is chemical, and what they are saying is that few of the chemical companies are going to export to the US, to Europe, to the rest of the world, and this is pretty much commodity linked stock. So I had a huge amount of it before this big red candle. You see on 7th of April, it went to 2600 and then it came back up sharply. Then you have Sumi Chemical, it is Sumitomo. This is the Japanese company. I'm not interested in this. Then you have Sundaram Finance, it's been extremely good. It's not a stock in FNO. Again, the same story. NBFCs, banks are doing extremely well because it's all local business. And they have not really grown that much in last 3 years. So you will see a good pickup in NBFC sector. We have Ultratech Cement, we talked about it, not going to buy at this level, wait for 11,250. You have UPL, again the same story with the rural demand and Modi ji trying to get more votes. So yes, so hospitals are doing well, cement stocks are doing well, banks are doing well, NBFCs are doing well, some defense names are doing well like Majgaon Dock or BEL or HAL, and travel stocks are doing well. Then you have insurance companies doing well. I would still be a little bit careful with the auto stocks. Only Eicher Motor is one where I would ask you to look at. Also pharma, other than Laurus Labs, I'm not too sure about others. Look at fertilizer stocks like Chambar Fertilizer. They have been extremely good. So these are the stocks, and I'm not saying you should go out and buy on Monday. You should wait for your level, wait for at least a 20 DMA or a 50 DMA if you are really desperate. The problem, as we see with Aarti Pharma, is that all stocks keep going up and down, and if you don't buy a good stock when it's down, it will always show you unrealized loss, and that is very unsettling. You will not be able to make proper decisions if you're seeing too much of red lines in your portfolio. So this is pretty much it. Today is 19th of April. I think you should also watch my other video where I talked about Nifty bottoming at 22,000, and it was a very scary time when Nifty hit 22,000. A lot of people were saying I'll buy at 19,000. Index usually does not matter that much because there were a lot of stocks which are very, very strong. So Bajaj Finance was very strong and Shriram Finance was relatively okay. Chambal Fertilizer was very strong. So even in a weak market, you can find 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 stocks which are great, and you should always look for buying such companies. Alright guys, so we talked about Aarti Pharma. You will hopefully never buy a good company at a high price. You should always buy a good company at a low price, and this is just to show Aarti Pharma. It is to show how the big buyers wait and buy. So 577 shoots up to 695, 555 shoots up to 717. This is just for last 6 months, and I can show you many stocks which do the same. If a company is good, if there is a big buyer, they are waiting for a 50 DMA or a 200 DMA, and then they pounce on the stock. So this is pretty much about the weekend. I have told you the stocks which you should focus on. I've told you the sectors which you should focus on, and this is how you can make money in the market. If you are with IT stocks like Wipro, TCS, all those, I would be very, very careful because I'll show you how much of a downtrend Wipro is in. I mean, do you really want to buy this shit? It is not worth it. No way. People are saying that even by my standards, it has hit S2. S2 is the supports 2. So the way I look at it is S2, S1, P, R1, R2, and Wipro has hit S2, which is 234. I'll be very skeptical about this stock unless it moves above 274. That is the 200 DMA. A lot of people buy good companies at high prices, and that is okay, but this doesn't look like a good company right now. given what is artificial intelligence going to do. So I would ask you to stay away from. Oh wow, it went down actually on Thursday by 4%. Never touch this stock. Yeah, stay with the banks, stay with the NBFCs, and don't be too creative with your stock selection. All right, guys, see you on Monday.